you are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two Flavor Flays.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa.
Like what?
We're live.
Welcome everybody to the Happy Hoodlums podcast. It's your host Zachary Sampson and Mr. Kemper Woodruff in this bitch. If you don't know, you know. And we got a superstar on the rise. And if you close or look fast, he'll dot your eyes. This is Mr. Joe Aguilar. What's up, baby? Do the applause. What's happening, Joe?
What's cracking, bro?
Oh man, this has been
What
a
up,
long
what
time
up?
coming. So for people that don't know, Joe's been out here killing it, putting the Northwest on the map with boxing for a long time. Out of his camp, Go Hard MMA and B2T Boxing, that's bottom to the top. And he's really been the only person that I can say has been a unanimous showstopper across the board, no matter what. The crowd goes fucking crazy. They get a show no matter what venue it is. So I guess, Joe, let's start with a little bit of who you are and where you started and how you got into boxing for the people that don't
So Joe Aguilar. Where it started? So boxing started for me back in middle school. I had anger issues and was getting into trouble. My uncle took me into the gym and helped me control the anger a little bit, control, my temper and everything a little bit. Didn't stick with it, but I did it for like a cool 6 months or something, and then stopped. I was a big skateboarder back then, so I was skateboarding a lot. And then in high school, we got into other sports like football, basketball. Did a little bit of track, did baseball up in middle school too, and all that stuff. And then after high school, I got big. I blew up to like 260, and then me and my brother decided that we were both gonna start lifting weights and trying to eat better and lose weight. So I got down to like I think 210 at one point, and it was like a decent build 210. And then I had my firstborn kid, Jaden Aguilar, and fucking I went back up. I went back up to I think like 240,
know.
but I was still working out. Yeah, I was still working out, and I think when he was 6 months is when I decided to go back. And when he was 6 months old, I decided to go back to boxing, and from there on, just took off with it. Did I think 3 years of amateurs, and now I'm about almost, or did 2 years amateur, and now I'm about 4 years as a pro now,
Yeah. And,
something like that.
you know,
Yeah.
at that time, was there anything that was going on in your life outside of, what you were dealing with just weight wise and confidence wise, whatever, that made you steer back into boxing and need to kind of, what called you back there, I guess?
The thing that called me back there was, so me and my brother, we had a routine. It was like we'd go to work, and then after work we meet at the gym, and we just lift weights. Do everything that we did, and that was just to be strong and be healthy and be uh, just working out and just be fit, all that stuff, which is cool. But there was no like goals behind it besides that. There's no like money goals or like what am I gonna do with this or anything like that. It was just about being strong and being fit. So so what took me back to boxing is my mindset. I was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna take this time away from my kid, then there's got to be a good outcome out of it. I got to either be working to, like, I got to be working towards a bigger picture, getting paid for something, or like just stuff like that, like being a good example I went back to boxing. I was like, all right, let me give this a run and see what I can actually do with it. And that way, and it's a hard sport too. So I have my kids watching me do it. So they're growing up seeing, and I'm leading by example. Like you can do anything you put your mind to, and as long as you are in there and doing it, and you want to be better at it, and you want to be better at it, then you can do it. You can go be better at it if you work towards that. And so now there's a bigger picture in mind. I make money every time I fight. I got sponsors who help pay for camps and stuff, and yeah, it's just a way better thing. Like I'm taking the time out away from my family, but that's a sacrifice for a bigger picture. It's not just for nothing. It's not just for my own benefit. It's for the long run, the benefit of my family, and that's what brought me back to it.
100%. And for those that don't know, Zach and I have followed Joe around with cameras for years trying to get this thing together. So we've been
Yeah,
catching little things. I can't tell you how much time this man spent dedicated in the gym with his sons right there, and his sons putting on the gloves. I got photos and video of him hitting the bag. And then his second brother came, and then he's hitting the bag, yeah, as time
yeah,
progresses, right? And you really start to see. And for me, that I want to say that was really big to see the impact of fatherhood in that way, despite us being at such a young age, um,
yeah.
because you kind of, I guess, shit, man, this started maybe when I was like 22 that I started following you around. 22, 23 now, right?
It's
it's been
been a minute.
about
It's been a minute, bro.
been
Pretty sure I was
about
still
4
amateur when we first started it. Yeah,
Yeah, and so Joe had won the Cinco de Mayo belt. So I guess let's talk a little bit about the Cinco de Mayo belt and what that fight was like for you, because I know that was kind of like the first big one. Um,
yeah. That fight, um, that single day mile fight when I won the belt. That for one, that fight was a dog fight. I was a heavyweight. I think I weighed in at like 220, 225. But that dude that I fought was I just lost to him in March. Lost to him in March. Fought him my second fight. I lost to him, and then I fought him at the regional Golden Gloves in March of that year, and I lost to him again. And so we were running it back for the third time, and so this time I was just like, all right, bro, you just gotta bite down and just go. And cause that dude's a tank. He's a tank. He just kept going and going and going and going and going. So I'm like, I'm not gonna outbox this dude. So we just gonna scrap it out. So it was a dogfight. It was fun. It was super entertaining for everybody to be there. And got the job done. I got that belt.
and
Broke his confidence before he went to nationals.
yeah, and then at that time, so people can kind of get a framework of what the boxing scene was really like. Didn't you go to heavyweight less because you were close at that weight and more because Golden Gloves didn't have much going on in terms of like light heavyweight in the Northwest right now or like at that time?
I was heavyweight because heavyweight is 201 plus. So anything over 201 is heavyweight. I was a heavyweight. I was just big. And I didn't want to cut weight. I wasn't cutting weight at the time. I had no discipline to cut weight. I was just big. And yeah, at that time, I didn't even think it was really that possible for me to get down any lower than I was. Um, so I was just heavy. I was just sticking in that weight class because I just wanted to fight. I was like, I just want to fight. Let's get this going. So that's why I was heavyweight.
Okay, what's the lowest that you've cut down to now?
The lowest I've weighed so far is 164.
Yeah, that's a
That's a whole.
huge.
That's a whole 90. I want to say 96 pounds total.
Mm-hmm.
Started at 260.
So,
That's
and
wild.
I asked that to give people a framework for discipline, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the things that really stood out to me at when I went to Go Hard for the first time to see you. Other than just the community, Go Hard is like if you took a barber shop and stuck it into a boxing ring. You know, like
Nah, for
everybody
real.
talking shit, knows each other, gives everybody a hard time, but everybody's there, and it's like a hub of activity. You know,
Right, we're all there doing the same shit with the same goal in mind.
and there's multiple generations. You know, there's kids getting in
Mhm.
there. You know, boys, girls, they're all getting in the ring, and they're all, you know, it's a really interesting bonding experience. But it all centers around like the true discipline to the science of boxing.
Right.
um, and your guys' technical savvy, thanks to Jermaine and JC and Wes and everybody that's contributing there. Coach Emmanuel, you know, you guys have housed a lot of greatness for a long time, and your camp hasn't had the same stability that other camps had. Like the first gym that you were at, it burnt down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it one day while we did a dope ass photo shoot for you, and then we came back and it was rubble.
Gone.
Um,
That's how long we've been working on this thing for.
yeah, and then the second gym came into play, and the second gym was really like you guys took what was a storefront, like that was truly a storefront setup, and we're just like, fuck it, we're
Mhm.
throwing a gym up in here, right?
That was that gym was the most successful go hard that we've had so far.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. That
Yeah.
one was nice. Guards actually they actually just closed again, and
Mm-hmm.
I think this time I don't think they're reopening.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if there is a go hard anymore. I'm still with Jermaine and JC, and we still got our boxing thing. We're just at another gym right now.
Yeah. Well, it, to me, what Go Hard and B2T like merged together, because for those that don't know, JC brought in that bottom to the top boxing, and we got to get a JC interview
Mhm.
on here because he's a fucking character. Okay, so and a
Right.
straight legend, like going all the way back to like Sphinx and stuff. You know, like really being in the culture.
Mhm.
And then we got JC, who's a fighter himself, you know, and he was more like UFC. You know, he's really deep in his knowledge of not only striking but jujitsu too. And both of them are just two very different characters, right? And in between their talents, right, comes not only Joe but a host of other fighters out of that camp. But I say all that to
Mhm.
really get down to the point of it's go hard is like a dedication, you know, that no matter where we gotta come from to train, like a fucking refugee, like I'll cross the desert and you might find me in any state, but I'll fuck you up. What's up? Like you gonna get a
For real.
fight if Joe walks in that. And
If
the
Joe's in there, if you start with Joe, it's gonna be a scrap.
that's why they let you fight last. Cause I'm telling you, like they just know that it's going to be a hell of a fight. And so despite the gym closures, despite having to work, juggling parenthood, you've been able to prioritize it and find love along the way. All right, so I think we need to also tip the hat to the first lady. She's no longer the fiance, she
Always.
is Ms. Aguilar.
Miss Aguilar.
Yeah. And you know I say that because there's many levels of like stardom is a thing where like some people got it, some people don't, right?
Mhm.
Joe has a interesting, like, he's rough in that like he'll fuck you up, but he's still got pretty boy swag, and he's like smooth with how he talks in a way like I don't know what the fuck would get you excited. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's just I've never seen Joe be like, "Hey," unless he was fucking with somebody, but like legitimately. Other than that, he's just a cool
Right,
dude.
that's funny.
And so I have to big you up because I gotta let you talk your motherfucking shit. It's been a long time coming for you to get on here, and
Right,
honestly, it's like your fights speak for themselves. But for the people that like don't know, like they really need to know to pay attention. And now you're selling tickets, right? And we want to make this go
yeah.
as far as we can. So, who are some of the people that gave you your hardest fights? And walk us through what you were thinking in some of those moments, Because we see the highlights and you're popping people's heads up, but I know there were some bangers for you too. Like, you don't hit without getting hit.
Right. Yeah, man. I've been in some tough fights for sure. I'm trying to think. There's this one in amateurs when I made my first cut ever. I went down to 198, and there was this Canadian dude, and me and him, bro. Oh my God, we went to when I came out of that fight, bro. I didn't even know if I won or not. Cause we went to war, like it was just nonstop, just back and forth, just action. And he was like the number two Canadian at the time over there, and he came down here and we fought. That one was crazy, bro. I've never been more sore, and it was a tournament too. I had to come back and fight the next day. My neck was just all like, I was like, I don't know if I can. I don't know, man. This ain't it. Like everything was just sore. My neck was all kinked up, and I'm just like. Yeah, that one was a real tough one. I forget his name though. I don't remember his name. But he's from Canada, and then that heavyweight dude I was just talking about. We had three fights, and all three fights were real tough and competitive and real close. I think I won all three in my opinion, but they only gave me one of them. Um, and I think pro wise, I would say it was my hardest fight pro wise. I would say probably when I went to Nebraska and fought light heavyweight when I fought Adele Gomez. I think that was probably my hardest pro fight so far.
And
But
that was
go
out of
ahead.
Terrence Crawford's camp, right?
Yeah, he trains with Terrence Crawford, Steven Nelson, and they have a bunch of world champions that train there too, and a bunch of young prospects. So it wasn't like a tough fight due to like skill or anything. It was just a tough fight because it was my first fight back after being off for 2 years because of COVID, and he was active for the whole 2 years. He went 5-0. And then just being up a weight class because I don't usually fight at 175. I fight at 168. So being up a weight class and then just being off for so long and going over there and fighting, it was a pretty tough fight. But we got the draw, which is technically a win for us.
Yeah.
You go to someone's backyard and you fight them and they give you a draw, then in boxing world, you won.
So, back in the day, and there was always drama and politics in boxing, and I don't want to, highlight too much of that as in like, oh, like, man, I had it extra hard or whatever. But there are some like legitimate things that you've had to deal with in terms of traveling and funding and things like that. So maybe give the people like what was being on the road like, and some of the struggles you've had to overcome in order to continue your career.
Yeah, so traveling it's I don't have to pay for any of it. They pay for my flights, they book the flights, they pay for the hotel. And when you go to a different place, they usually pay for the food while you're there too, for you and your coach. So I usually don't have to spend any money. Um, but with them doing that, they're gonna pick the cheapest flight. So you're gonna have to take 2 to 3 flights. There's gonna be long ass layovers. And on the way there, it sucks because I'm cutting weight, so I can't eat. So I can't really drink anything, and I can't work out because I'm in the airport all day. I'm traveling all day. So you gotta deal with that, the layovers, and then when you get to a new place, you gotta get used to that area you're in. Um, A lot of people will put you in a hotel where they don't have a gym because they want to make it hard as fuck for you to do anything. That's just like the politics behind traveling to somebody else's area. They don't really care about you. So they're trying to make it hard as possible for you. So you have to get used to the area. So me and my coach, we have to find a gym to go get in the sauna or, do some mitts or something and run or something like that. And then, so there's a lot of things that you have to face, but I'm gonna get it by any means type of guy. There's a will, there's a way. So I'm gonna figure out a way to make anything that I gotta do happen because the one thing in mind is we're here to fight. It's kill or be killed. So let's get it. One man gotta come out of there on top. So,
And when
so
when
we
when
adjust.
you're preparing for a fight, and like what's in your mind, and how does that change when you're actually mid fight coming out of the corner, or does it change at all?
When I'm preparing for a fight to when I'm in a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when I'm preparing for a fight, it just go go go. Bro, I'm training like a maniac. I'm just head down, da da da. Like no, we gotta go one more round. We're getting this. We're doing that. Da da da. I'm running. Can't wait. It's just like I mean anybody who's an athlete who does anything competitive, man, they know it's like I'm trying to be better than anybody who's coming up against me. In order to do that, you gotta work. You gotta work, work, work. So I just assume everybody that I'm fighting is working twice as hard as me. So I'm always pushing to get that little extra da da da, extra rep, the extra round, all that stuff. And then, you know, when you go into a fight, it's like all the work is done. I've done a little bit of research on my opponent, so I know a little bit of what he's gonna do. But there's always that like you gotta fill him out part. So like you go into the first round, you gotta see how they're reacting to stuff. You gotta, see how their punches, how fast their punches are coming. You gotta, get hit, feel how hard they're hitting. You gotta pick up on a bunch of things. So it's like there's a lot of adjusting that you have to do. So you gotta like know that you have to adjust, right? So when you're training for the fight, you're sharpening all your tools. You're getting ready for battle, doing everything you gotta do to make sure you're right. And then when you're in the fight, that's where it's like you're good. You worked on everything that you need to work on. Now it's about seeing what your opponent's gonna bring and adjusting to that, using your weapons and adjust to that. And that's what we do, and that's what our coaches are there for. So in between rounds, if I come up, they're like, you gotta do this, you gotta move to the right. When he's doing this, he's doing that. They're the eyes that are seeing what's happening if I can't see it by myself. You know what I mean? So
Sorry,
we're all working together. You said what?
I got a train going by, so I had to mute myself because it'd be loud as shit sometimes.
Ah,
I'm sorry.
are you over there on Sandy? They got trains over
Mhm.
there? Oh yeah, I guess they do. The one that like runs right by. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
super
crazy.
loud. But so apologies for the train.
Uh,
Um,
no, you good.
but no, man, like on a deeper level, like what is fighting brought to your life, and who would you be? Like, who are you without it?
Man, without fighting, I'm the same person I am without fighting, man. Just less known. Still, still husband, still a dad. Still a brother, still uncle. I'm still working. I'm who I am as a fighter, just less known. You know.
That might
So the
be
fight.
the that might be the coolest guy answer that you could have gave. You see what I mean? You downplay the shit out of everything, bro. Be like, the fuck? All right.
Well, I mean, like,
I be
I mean,
throwing
that's what it
questions
is,
at him. He
man.
be like, "This
No,
nigga." But
I mean, that's what it is, man. I just,
yeah, you know, I guess like 5 years from now, where do you see yourself with it?
Yeah, 5 years from now, man, I better. Hmm, a hard question to answer, man. 5 years. How old will I be in 5 years? I'll be 34. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not boxing no more, man. I hope I got my little team going on where I'm just coaching and helping the next generation come up. Maybe got my own gym or something. Hopefully, I'm making enough money to get a cool little stream coming in and I mean I could still fight at 34. I'll be able to take care of myself, but hopefully I don't have to do it for too long.
Yeah.
But that's a hard question, man. Things happen. Time is valuable, and things happen fast, and things happen slow, and things happen when things are supposed to happen. So it's kind of hard to tell. Ideally, I would want to have my bank accounts full. Fighting on bigger stages than I am now for more money. Possibly having a couple of little intercontinental or world titles in there, but we'll see how it comes, man. Selling out the Motor Center.
Yeah. Bringing fighting into the Rose City, baby. So,
Yeah, man, that's the.
you know, and part of why I asked that is like everybody talks about the mind state of a winner these days, and the heart of what it takes to win, and there's a part of it that I think you touched on that's destined, you know, and then I think
Mhm,
there's a part of it that's your work that you're putting in, like, and I think in terms of becoming a man, like boxing and just being able to defend yourself is like it's a part of your responsibility and how you get to know
exactly.
yourself. So like how has boxing affected you in becoming a man? Because you started it early, you know? We're both
Mhm.
like, are you 28 right now?
Yeah, I actually turned 29 on Sunday.
Okay, shit. Say
Happy
that.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Getting
But
old, bro.
it's like almost half your life you've been doing this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so like how has it affected you in becoming the man that you are?
Yeah, I got you. Man, boxing is like I think every man, woman, or anybody, man, they need to do some type of like training, whether it's jujitsu, MMA, boxing, or anything, because there's so much that I can. If I were to talk to somebody and give them any type of advice, I always use something that like I can put back into boxing, or I get from boxing. Like you gotta roll with the punches, and you might take the punch, but if you roll with it, it's not gonna be as hard, and you're gonna keep going forward, stuff like that. So it's like you gotta be you gotta be calm, and more importantly, you gotta be calm in hostile situations. You gotta be calm when things start heating up. And somebody's throwing a bunch of punches at you. You gotta stay calm and wait for that opening. Um, you gotta weather the storm. It teaches you discipline, patience. Uh, timing, speed, and it really tests you like when you're in a hard workout and you feel like, oh, my arms are giving up, blah blah, and then you have somebody in here like, oh, you can keep going, you can keep going, you can keep going, or my legs are tired, and you got someone up here saying, oh, you good, they're still working, they're still moving, you can keep going. So it just gives you that like that like just that mentality like you're not done until you're done. You know what I mean? If you get knocked out, then you're done. If you get hit so hard to where you can't use anything, then you're done. You're not done until you're done. You gotta push yourself to the limits. You gotta be patient with yourself and everything that's going on around you. And you gotta be calm in every situation. You gotta work on your breathing. And that's helped me with like arguments and like stepping back from anything. I just breathe and I tell my kids when they get all worked up, I'm like, breathe, calm yourself down. You know, nothing's gonna come good from acting out of emotions. You know, you gotta be able to like feel the emotions and realize you're feeling it, and then breathe, calm yourself down, and then react. And boxing has taught me all that. Boxing, football, everything, man, everything sports and competitive has taught me all that stuff, and it's all great to take that into life as well.
Mm-hmm. And do you feel that you've ever been pushed to your limits in a fight?
Um, Not yet, not
Yeah.
yet. I always like there's times where I'm like damn, like that was hard, but I could have kept going. You know, and there wasn't. I remember my first fight, my first ever fight, my amateur fight. Uh, my dad's in prison in Arkansas, but he called me and he's like, yeah, you want to play mind games? He's like, don't sit on the stool. Don't, he's like, don't sit on the stool in between rounds. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's easy. I'll do that in sparring. That's cool. I can do that. By the time my legs got tired as hell, bro. I was boxing that third round. It's only 3 rounds. That third round, my legs were like, oh, they were tired, bro. They were tired. But I could have kept going. No, I wasn't. I still kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a time yet where I've been like pushed to like that point where I was almost ready to break.
Okay. And on the flip side of that, were there any moments that surprised yourself in your fights so far? Like
Mm,
I know for me, bro, when I first started boxing and like I'd only really boxed with my homie Gunner in like the backyard and just been in hella fights in school. And then we started a little boxing thing in high school. I remember Joe was one of the only people that ever like looked at the videos and he was like, "You all right, but you know, like you could do X, Y, and Z better." And at the time, I didn't even know that he was boxing. So I remember at the time, my pride was kind of hurt. I was like, "The fuck, bro! I won! Like, why do you think you like me?" You know what I mean? Because I was cold, and there was really no weight class. But I remember like I would always get there late, and everyone would match up with like whoever they thought they could beat up, but they didn't look like a bitch for like choosing. You know, like they could
right,
get away with
right,
it without.
right, yeah,
So I would come in, I was fighting these giants, bro. Dudes like 6'2", long ass arms, you know, way heavier than me. I'm like a buck 25 just going at it with them,
right.
right? And so I remember I hit people like big dudes, whap, and they'd be like, oh shit. And I like they'd stumble back and I was like, they fucking work good. All right. You know, like you ever have one of those moments in your fight?
um, nah, nah, fucking. I actually be like questioning my power a lot, bro, because I don't have, I only have 2 knockouts. I only have 2 knockdowns. So I be questioning my power. I think I have 6 in amateurs, but no knockdowns, bro. Those just me overwhelming them and them taking big punches but staying up. And then the ref's like, no, we good. But in pros, I have 2 knockdowns that led to stoppages. Um, and when I'm on the bag, bro, I be feeling like I'm hitting this motherfucking bag as hard as hell. I feel like, yeah, there ain't no way these people could take my power. And then when I get in there, nobody goes down. So I be questioning my power a lot, bro. I guess I guess my 2 knockdowns I was a little surprised. My first one this is my pro debut, and when I hit him and he went down, I like looked, I stepped, looked, and so I went to the corner and I looked back. I was like, "Is he getting up? Is he getting up?" And he got up, but yeah, I be doubting my power sometimes because they just don't go down, bro. But I'm fighting tough opponents, so it's alright,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely try and find anyone that they think can come like a Frankenstein. You be fighting Frankenstein ass dudes because I can tell you from the crowd when you're watching, you're like, I don't know how that motherfucker doesn't go down. So you ain't the only one because
Bro,
I've seen you put the fucking work on people, bro. Like they look like a different dude
man,
when we go to get drinks
that
that night.
Medford fight, yeah, that Medford fight, bro. That boy tough. I hit that dude with a vicious overhand right, and I put that on Instagram. I'm just like, and I rewind it forward, bro. It's like a screen recording me just kept hitting him. I was like, how did this dude not go down? And then there was a viral right hand going around the same time. Some dude hit somebody with that, and the dude went down. I was like, if he would have went down, I would be going viral right now. 'Cause that right hand was way more powerful than Homeboy's right hand. I know that.
Yeah,
But that dude is tough, man. I don't.
dude,
That dude's tough, bro.
you legit have hit people so hard their sweat has hit me while I've been filming. Like, and that's crazy because like I didn't have no press passes. These are all guerrilla filming events. All right,
Right.
we were doing this
He's
ghetto
just right here.
fabulous out of straight love for the fam, and it's really a spectacle watching you get in there because and I've said this before. I think like the two most vulnerable aspects of life is like love and you ain't making no pornos. So fighting is the other one,
Mhm.
right? And I feel like both
Right,
those
right.
things, it's like the whole world can watch it, but only those two people really know what's going down. Like when you fight somebody,
Mhm.
like there's a mutual respect that like is there regardless. Where you're like,
Yeah,
you might lose, but you're like, there's a fucking Tasmanian devil in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
um, so do you think you're that Tasmanian devil for like other people that you fought? Like, has anyone
Oh, of course.
truly wanted to run it back and really been consistent with it?
I think the one person who wanted to run it back is Adele Gomez. Uh, and of course the dude in heavyweights I fought 3 times. But Adele Gomez, you know, tried to run it back in December, last December of 2022, I think it was. We tried to run it back, but I got sick out there, so we didn't get it. But yeah, that's what I am for people because they call me out there to lose. Ain't nobody call me out there to win. You're not gonna fly somebody in from the like so by the time I was one, I took the whole COVID layoff and didn't fight. My amateur background in nationals was 0-1, so my national or my amateur on box rec uh is 0-1, and then my pros on box rec is 1-0. This dude was 5-0, and I think he was like 8-6 as an amateur or whatever. So he's already had way more experience at a national level of amateurs than me, and he had more experience as a pro. And they were giving him like easy ass pro fighters. They were like, oh, bringing people in from MMA or just bringing like journeymen in who have lost and da da da. So he's never been tested. He wasn't tested. So they brought me in, want to know being an actual boxer. They're like, yeah, this is the test. They're like, Joe's the test. And but you can tell in their faces, and like I knew right away when they asked me to come fight because I talked to the dude. I was like, I fight at 168. So he's like, oh, you want to come up into 175 and blah blah. And I'm like, all right, whatever, yeah, sure. I took that risk. I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it, let's run it. I'm not, time's just passing by. I'm not getting any younger. Let's run it. So I took that risk, knowing who he was, who he trains with, Terrence Crawford, and all that stuff. I was like, this is about to put us on the map right here. So I took that risk. I went down there, and they weren't expecting it. They weren't expecting me to be, how I was, which is why I think they gave me the draw. I think they probably expected, Gomez to get me out of there in the first or second round. They weren't expecting me to be durable. They weren't expecting me to hit as hard as I did. They weren't expecting me to be as fast as I was. They weren't expecting me to be able to adjust like that or be as skillful as I was. So they got a real eye awakening point at that time that you can't just mess with these boys out here in Portland, man. We about that.
Mm-hmm. And what's special about your camp to you? Like what do JC and Jermaine bring to you that's kept you so loyal throughout ups and downs? Because there's plenty of fighters that'll just up and switch camps. You really see it often in like MMA. People
Hmm.
break really long time relationships to try and give themselves a different avenue or approach. Um, what's kept you with JC and Jermaine, and what's so special about your guys' journey together?
Yeah. But JC, he was like the only JC was the first coach that I really had. You know, up until JC came in there, he came in I think after my third amateur fight. Uh, he came in and was working with me, and I remember him telling me he's like if you want me to work with you, you know, you gotta work the way I want you to work, and we gotta da da da. And I was like, well, let's run it up. Like, you know, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for a coach. I didn't, you know, everything was self-taught. Me and Brian, uh, we're just working each other out, holding the mitts for each other. You know, doing our back drills together and running, and you know, we were self-taught. We didn't really have no coaches at that point. So JC came in and you know invested in us and invested in me, and you know we've been running it up ever since. And he always adjusts to whatever happens, you know, with me. Like the gym burning down, we had to go for to this gym, and then you know, and now with this gym closing, and he'll meet me at the track. uh uh Jermaine and JC, we all went to Vegas together because Jermaine knows Vegas. So he took us to Vegas, and you know we'd go run over there and go to the Mayweather gym and stuff. And you know they're just about wanting to be the best and working in all terms, no matter what happens, and on a schedule that you know can flip flop. And on my hey, I'm going to track. You want to meet me here? We can do a little workout there, and then we can go over here and da da. You know they're all for that, and it doesn't matter the weather either, bro. Like if I tell them like, yeah, that we want to work out, they'll meet me. They'll find a way to meet me and work out, even if I have to pick them up or whatever. They're always down to work out, and their styles are way different, but they work together. Their styles work together so well. You know, JC wants quick perfection. You know, like move your feet, do this, do that, everything perfected, perfected, perfected. And then Jermaine on the other hand is like, we gotta figure out the timing. You know, I gotta throw this, and then you gotta move your feet. We gotta do, you know, he brings that mixed martial arts background to it. Like he brings a mixed martial arts, which is like more of a newer day fighting style, but he brings a mixed martial art background to pair it with a strictly old school boxing background. And I think them together, working with Jermaine and then working with JC and putting it all together, just works super well together, man. I wouldn't want to do it with, I wouldn't want to replace either one of them.
Yeah, of course. Like that's family, and I don't say that like as in you should. I'm saying like
Right.
I asked the question because it's something special, you know. Like when I truly am sitting there, I know Zach, you've seen it too, right? Like watching them coach you and the
Yeah.
passion, you know, like across the board, and even just you know it don't stop at the ring. We're sitting there at Black Bear Diner. All that you're talking about is like, you know, fighting this style versus that style.
Hmm.
Or, you know, throw this combination versus that combination. No, if that one came out, I'd do this. No, 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 you know what I mean? It's like a
Yeah.
Rubik's cube of fucking, you know, fighting, and it's fantastic to watch. You know, um,
Yeah, and they both, you know, I haven't made a lot of money on this either, bro. And like, you know, I kick them some bread when I do make some money, but you know, they're not making a lot of money. I'm not making a lot of money, but they're still investing their time and in their work into me, and and they believe in me, man. They know that we can do some things with this, so they just keep showing up for me time and time again, and they both bring their different demeanors. You know, JC is a cool, relaxed demeanor, and Jermaine, when it's time to go, he's more of like, "Let's go. That's what we here for." Da, da, da. You know, and like, and then me having them both behind me, and I'm just like, just locked in. I got you know the cool side, the let's go side, the rowdy side, and it's like, oh yeah, we about to get it done. I just love having them with me, and them putting their their trust in me that we're gonna get this done, and believing in me, man. They both been there for me.
what does loyalty mean to you?
Well, to me, it's friendship with the people you start with, man. Friendship with people you start with, the people who put time into you, you put time into them, and the people who love you love them, and you know, you don't see the opportunity to steer away from them, and you don't You don't you don't see the opportunity to find something better. You talk it out, you work with your team, you talk it out, and if all needs can get met and you guys can get on the same page, then there's nothing else that we need to change.
Nice. Man, I can't close this out without you talking about your family, um, because anyone that knows you as a family man, you know, and one of my favorite movies is Cinderella Man. You ever see that boxing movie with Russell Crowe?
I don't think so. No, I don't
Oh
think
man,
so.
I'm gonna have to show you that. It's about James Braddock, but in it, he's a family man out of like the Great Depression, and I see you as
Oh,
like
okay.
on some modern day like swaggy James Braddock shit, um,
Mhm.
and it's beautiful to see you come up. So tell us a little bit about you know fatherhood and what a day in the life of Joe is like. Where your kids fit in, where your wife fits into this equation.
Um, my kids, man, my kids and my family is the reason why I do this. The reason why I put this work in day to day, man, because it gets exhausting. There's times where, like, I'm just like, I ain't trying to work, but it's what keeps me, my wife has a great work, she has a great mentality. She's a get it by any means type of person. It's a different hustle, but it's the same mentality with everything that I'm doing, you know. So it's not necessarily having to show her. I teach her things. Be patient. Everything happens and happens. We can get through it. Blah blah. So it's not necessarily to show her anything. It keeps me working to be able to provide for her how I want to. You know. And then with my kids looking up to me, it's like if I'm quitting, if they see daddy quitting, then what are they gonna grow up thinking? They're either gonna be like, "Oh, it's okay to quit. My daddy did it," or they're gonna, you know, which is 9 times out of 10 what would happen. Like, "Oh, it's okay. I don't have to do that." So they look up to me, and I gotta lead by example. So I tell my son, I ask him, I say, "What's the most powerful thing you own?" He tell you his brain. But okay, the three things that take you far in life. He says patience and manners. All right, and and I tell him, and always he'll say be the hardest worker in the room. I say nothing's impossible with the right mindset, you know, and those are all things I impute in them. And by me imputing that in them, I have to lead by example. So I have to show them, I have to be calm when things are starting to heat up. I have to think about things and figure out how to deal with it. I gotta continuously work until I get to where I need to be. And so my family is the reason why I do all this, man. There's no quitting me. I don't think I would have quit. But, like, I don't know if I'd be as far into it as I am now because I don't know if I would take it as serious. Because I never took boxing serious before, you know? And then having Jaden made me take it serious, so I don't know if I would ever have taken it this serious if I didn't have kids. And then and then having kids and me boxing, but being the man feeling the man that I am and, having the patience and confidence and calmness behind me led me to meet my wife, and she has the same exact mentality with a different hustle. Get it by any means. I'm not gonna quit because this is what I want to do, and she figures it out, and that's what I was drawn to. And now us together is like perfect dynamic duo.
Oh yeah, we see that.
Yeah.
And Zach, we ain't closing this out without you getting at least a couple questions in. Zach's like a fucking mastermind, bro. He been sitting here just charging up these fucking laser beams. He rubs his beard and then eventually lasers come out his eyes.
Yeah, here we go.
Three
uh,
episodes from now, he's gonna be buck wild. Let's hear it, Zach.
so, um, the last few episodes, Kemper and I have kind of like been talking about the feeling that you get from exerting yourself physically. And so, like, with weightlifting specifically, we talk about how it takes you from being in your head and into your body. And so the question that I
Mhm.
had was, forget about the result of a fight. So win, lose, or draw, forget about that. What is like the physical feeling of being finished with a fight? Is it euphoric, like just tired, or what? Like, what is it?
After being done with the fight,
Yeah.
finishing fight, it's like win, lose or draw, man. There's a satisfaction that you get of like everything for years, for months, for weeks, everything that I've done put my body through, everything that I've done work for, and the hours in the gym that I put in has all led to this, and I just did that, So it's you get that satisfaction of like I just got that done, and then you bask in whatever feeling you're feeling at the time, whether it's like the happiness, excitement from winning, or like a disappointment, like sad and from losing, or whatever it is, you bask in that, but at the same time, you know that there's more work to be done. You get right back to it. Um, I don't know if that answers your question. I guess it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question.
I think you
That's a
answered it.
laser question right there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
cause
that's a
like,
laser questions right there.
so like an example, right? Everything for me is about weightlifting, right? So when I get done with a
Mhm.
really hard workout, I feel like almost like I'm floating. Like I feel not necessarily like tired and fatigued, but I feel really good. Like the satisfaction is what you're talking about. It's not
Yeah, the
always,
satisfaction.
yeah, and it may not always be satisfaction. Sometimes it may be like you just you don't feel anything and your mind is calm from a really hard workout. And I guess like you could
Mhm.
also talk about like maybe like during a hard training session, what the feeling is after that. Like when you finally get to sit down or get a drink of water or you walk out the door and you feel the fresh air on you. And at the end of that, it's like, what is that feeling?
It's once again, it's just a satisfaction, and with every workout, every fight, every rep, every round of anything, you know, this is what you take from it. I got better. I learned a lot about myself and what I can do, and I learned a lot of what it's gonna take to get better from here. It's the satisfaction of all that put together. And I think I've heard this thing before. Is like you're never gonna be mad about working out. Like you're never gonna just like leave the gym and be like, damn, I really wish I didn't come today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you're always gonna feel satisfied with something because you got something done. You got a little bit better that day. Blah blah. It doesn't matter how bad you didn't want to go or how bad the workout was or anything. You're never gonna leave the gym saying, damn, I really wish I didn't come today.
I agree
You're
with
always gonna
that.
leave with a little bit of satisfaction. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Zach, where were you at? You should have been conducting this interview. I don't know what Zach done summoned all the fucking energy up out of Joe. I love it. You know, I hear that and it makes me think of like use, right? I didn't learn this for no reason. Like, and the test
Hmm.
is like, I got to put it to use. Did I spend it all? Right? Did I really lay every bit of my soul and my heart on the line? Like, have you ever had
Yeah.
fights where you're like, you look at it and you're like, I could have fucking done better. I should have gave more. And I like,
All the time, man. Every time I look back at a fight, I'm like, damn, I should have did this. I would have got him out of there if I did this. Or I would have got him out of there sooner if I did this. And that's like that's the learning part. That's when you know that there's learning stuff to be done, but you still feel that satisfaction of getting it done in the first place.
do you think
But
there?
all the time, man.
Do you think there's a point where you're like, fuck fighting smart? I'm getting it. Like, I gotta break it off.
If you have to, man, that's what I did in that single day mouth fight. There was no fighting smart in that, bro. I tried to fight smart twice before and lost. At that point, it was like, oh, I'm getting it. Let's go.
Yeah. Do you okay? So like through experience, how are you different now as a fighter compared to back then? Like, are in terms of being able to adjust your game plan, like on the fly.
Uh, I think I have more experience under me, and I've been through more situations, and I've been through a little more wars, so I got more experience under me, and I just know more, you know. So back then it was just I tried and it didn't work, and so we dogged it out, and that's why I tell everybody I'm like I'm fast, I'm strong, I'm smart, I can move my feet, I can punch, got quick hands, blah blah. And nonetheless, if it has to, I got that dog in me, and I'm not gonna be out dogged. That's just not happening. So, you know, but yeah, to answer your question, I just got a lot more experience. I've been through a lot more wars and fought a lot better competition, and so I just makes me more prepared and ready to adjust when I have to.
And the icing on the cake is that motherfucker's gonna give you a show. I know you're close to having to put your boys to sleep. I know fatherhood don't break the routine. So I want to be respectful of
Uh,
your time. Zach and I are really happy that you got on here.
For real.
We really are gonna try our best to get you some clips, if not the full documentary. Full documentary will come someday when the story's unfolded more. But we're gonna start
whatever.
giving you clips like we didn't promised a million times. And everyone, just stay tuned. We'll make sure that we add your Instagram and everything.
Yep.
And is there a way that people can donate to you or support you that you might need, brother?
um, just hit me up on Instagram, man. I'm looking for sponsors, not necessary donations, and I got tickets in hand. So if anybody hits me up for tickets, I got them. I'll deliver them personally, or I can deliver them in the mail. It don't matter. Uh, yeah, that's it.
When
One thing I want to
when's
say though, you keep bringing it up, man. The showstopper, and that's the name. It's the showstopper, Joe Aguilar. They call me the showstopper because it doesn't matter if I'm the first fight or the last fight or in the middle. You always gonna get an entertaining fight. Ain't no fight gonna be the same as that fight. I guarantee it. It's always entertaining and it's always full of fireworks.
That's what's up.
mm-hmm.
Always stop the show.
Say that shit. Where are you
Always stop
fighting
the
and
show.
when? I know you got one coming.
Yeah, April 20th, Saturday, April 20th, Camp Withacombe. It's the Clackamas Armory. It's about a mile south of the Clackamas Town Center over in Oregon, Clackamas, Oregon. Uh, Tickets range from 100 to 35. You'll get at me if you want tickets. And I'm headlining this show, and I'm fighting for the Arena Wars super middleweight title. So
Hey,
gonna be fun.
let's go.
It's gonna be
Let's
fun.
get
I
it.
get to headline in the city.
I'll be there.
Hell yeah.
Hell
All
yeah!
right.
I'm excited, man.
Thank you for coming, brother. You are amazing. And I can't wait to watch another incredible fucking war out there. So
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Of
y'all
course.
better stay tuned for another episode of the Happy Hoodlums podcast. We're bringing you nothing but legends and greatness. Ah,
Yeah. I'm snatching that O on April 20th. You guys 2-0. I'm snatching that. You're gonna be
you
2-1.
Boom.
put him on.